Hello, here we are. This should be interesting. I'm just flipping the camera on. There's some stuff on my heart that I feel inclined to share. Um, not not in a sense of sharing so that people hear it or listen, but as somewhat of an expression of what I feel. And I think certain people might resonate with this and um, lap up the type of things I might say or the content, if you will. But this is more for me to express what's going on. Um, we're living in a crazy time, and because we uh, have been existing, and it feels gradual, um, we get lulled to sleep with what's happening. But we're on the brink of some major shifts in many different regards, depending on where you are and what you see and what your perspective is. This shift will be you'll notice it in your external world with what's happening, and it's going to be really disturbing to a lot of people. And I don't want to scare anybody, but it's hard not to think or talk about this election that happened last week. And um, I sort of found my peace with it by tuning it out, like all the campaigning and the speeches and the propaganda leading up to it. But a lot of people cared very deeply about who won the election, and a lot of people have some really intense feelings um, right now. And yeah, it's just interesting to me what people might be going through, and my heart goes out to them because this, up until now, it's been really easy to divide people and to create this sense of fear in people by exposing them to what they see. And we know that social media runs on algorithms, and it just keeps regurgitating what you gravitate towards. And when that happens, you don't get the full story. It's not possible. Um, you don't see the other side. You don't see different perspectives. And that's the biggest thing. One of the biggest things I want to communicate today is that it's not about sides. There's no winning or losing. We've been playing this game all our lives for generations. That success or happiness is this external thing. I finally know what it means when people say that it's internal. You cannot seek outside yourself for feelings that come from within. And so many people there's a lot of people that are very excited about who won the election. And they see that person as somewhat of a savior or someone who's going to save the country or save democracy. And then there's a lot of people that don't like that person and feel really scared, genuinely fearful about what's going to happen. And I'm here to tell you that not that neither way is right, but there's a higher way. There's a different perspective to view this from, and it's one that collapses polarities. And this has been what our life has been about for so long: is good versus bad, good versus evil, bad versus good, uh, left versus right, this versus that. And there's a higher perspective that is a win-win for everybody, and that's really hard for people to grasp. But when you truly, the key is to know yourself, to know your motivations, your patterns, the reasons that you do things, the ways that you do things, the ways that you're reactive, the things that you're unconscious to. I firmly believe that if you're driven to do so, one of the major missions in our life is to bring to the conscious that which is unconscious. And I'm going to introduce some concepts here that are truthful to me. It might be foreign to a lot of you, but just the way that reality exists, that our whole notion of our external world is created in our minds. It's so wild, but it's so true. And what we see in our reality is actually our unconscious mind. I'm going to let that sink in for a little bit. What we see in our reality is actually our unconscious mind. So whenever we see something that we push up against or we resist or that we don't like or don't want, that is life. That is our unconscious mind giving us a scenario, an experience to learn from. We are meant to navigate these experiences to come to a higher level of understanding of ourselves. That's not the game that most people are playing. That is not the game that most people are playing. And that's okay. There's no judgment of those people. For those that do know me and have been around me for the past couple of years, they've probably noticed quite a bit of a change. And now maybe you know why. It's because I've been on this this path to understanding myself and my reality around me and what I want it to be. So there's this beautiful thing that, there's an unfolding happening that's greater than all of us. And at the same time, I have free will to make choices and to become aware of my reality, and then the ability to change that if it's not something that I want to accept or that I like or enjoy. And I want to maybe just talk about and touch upon what I'm talking about when I say our external world is made up of our unconscious mind. It's a pretty wild thing to say. I'll give you an example. Somebody, if you're really immersed in this political scene and feel intense emotions either way, maybe you're really happy and elated, or maybe you're really sad and terrified. I'm telling you that this situation is here to serve you, because whatever you're experiencing is the lesson for you to go through. So take somebody who maybe is not a fan of who is elected. Okay, they're angry, they're sad, and they're scared. I would advise you to really dig deep and understand why. What are you scared of? And you might have a surface level answer. Scared of he's going to hurt people, scared of people are going to suffer. Go deeper on that. Who's going to suffer? Who's scared? And keep going deeper than that. How is it going to happen? You want to understand at a deep level what your feelings actually are, where they're coming from. And my theory, this is true for me, it doesn't have to be true for everybody, is that if you're feeling a certain type of way, it is an indication of a lack of love for yourself. If you are feeling a certain type of way, it is an indication of a lack of love for yourself. Just wanted to repeat that. And what that means is you're as much a part of this creation of your external world as anyone else. You might feel powerless, like your vote doesn't matter, or like this isn't what you wanted. But because you resisted it so much, you made it happen. Your unconscious mind was so strongly opposed to this, or your conscious mind was so strongly opposed to this, that your unconscious mind gave you this reality to go deep and to reflect on yourself. Again, this might be a lot for people to take in and handle, but I promise you, it is a way that is empowering, first of all, right? A lot of fear is based on powerlessness, or somebody taking advantage of you, or somebody manipulating you, or your freedom not being abided by. And this is the freest way to approach this, is to discover that freedom in yourself. And what you will realize is that what you're perceiving externally is what is happening in reality internally. I want to go in this direction, that if you have spiritual beliefs, or I don't want to call them religious beliefs, because religion itself is a human organizational approach to spirituality, right? But spirituality implies that there's something greater than us that exists, and no one really has the power to turn it off or on, or to like. I believe what you can and should do is to ride the wave, is to be a part of the ebb and flow. Because unless you have been sleeping, not all of life is joyous and happy. It's chock full of these lessons, and it's our resistance to these lessons. It's our desire to feel good all the time that prevents us from that deep level of enjoyment. You can enjoy tough moments because you're present with them. So what I want to say about spirituality, though, is that if you trace back the origins of humanity, we all come from the same place. There's this beautiful um, literature called The Law of One, and I'll leave it to you to go do some research on it if you would like. But it's this idea that there's one force in the universe. People call this force God, or some people call it the universe. Like, I trust the universe. Star Wars reference, the Force. That's what everybody's talking about. That's what this is something greater than us, that is the perpetual movement forward of our existence. And when you realize what the Law of One teaches, is that we're all expressions of the same thing. We all come from this God force, and we get this really unique opportunity for a few decades to embody this God force that lives within us all, and we each have a unique expression of our own love frequency, as I put it. We all vibrate a little bit differently because we're all really unique. And when you understand at the highest level how this happens and what it means, then you look at everybody as yourself. And this might be a really far leap for people to make, but it's a beautiful thing. Because whatever resistance you notice in others, judgments, you're judging a part of yourself. You're judging a part of yourself through that person, and also you can do the work to really clamp down on that judgment to understand how you judge yourself. Almost nobody does this or is going to do this. However, where we're going, there's no escaping not doing this. I firmly believe that. The time is now. The time is now. People might not know it. There are things going on astrologically that indicate this. And there are huge energy shifts that, if you're really sensitive to energy, you can feel what's happening in the world right now. There are changes coming. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, because it's a beautiful thing in a sense. It's going to force truth to come out in every single scenario. It's like we hold these falsehoods inside our body, and the universe is just squeezing it all out. There's going to be no place to hide. And that might sound scary, or like, what are you talking about? But it's beautiful. It's, if we were to design an existence, I think we would all come up with that, where you can't lie to anybody, or you have to be truthful, or you have to know yourself completely and fully to be able to live at the highest level with this energy that's around us. And it can only be done with this deep inner work, with sitting with yourself. We're so busy nowadays. There's so much happening. Now people might understand why I've stepped back from organizations that I've been involved in for a number of years that I care deeply about. And there are no regrets, because that experience, that participation was so beautiful. There was so much success, but it wasn't success that happened externally, because that's how I started. It was like, I need all these things to happen externally for it to happen. The more I embraced and embodied my inner self, that's when changes really started to happen. But then it became clear that I needed more time to sit and be with myself and to do this work. And I owe a lot of thanks to a few people, and even one person in particular. You know who you are. That I can honestly sit here today and say that I know myself better than I ever have before. and I have a deeper love of myself than I ever had before. I had no idea how much I judged myself, how hard I was on myself, how much I needed achievement or to accomplish things externally to feel good. And it's not the game. I'm telling you, man, it's not the game to play. I'm not saying don't play it. I'm not saying don't go have fun. Don't engage in society, but do your research on yourself. Study yourself. Study your motivations, and you'll understand why you do the things that you do, why you judge the people that you do. And when you embrace that part of your red flags, of the things that you'd rather not deal with or rather not see, I'm here to tell you that the emotions that you feel regarding those people or those situations continue to come up in new people engagements and new situations. It just keeps happening. That's the beauty of this mirror of the universe of your unconscious mind. And so I'm not telling anybody they have to do anything. I am sharing how rewarding it can be to really know yourself, and to operate from a place of high truth, and not only what you think about and how you exist, but how you interact with other people. And now I have such compassion for everyone I come in contact with. I'm not perfect. I judge a lot of people initially, but I've been working a lot on catching those things in the moment and really understanding, like I say, why I do the things I do, why I think the thoughts that I think. A lot of it is programming. A lot of it um, is developed before we even know what's going on in our lives in childhood. Doesn't have to stay that way. That's the cool part. Um, there are modalities to be able to access deep truths about yourself and your development, um, that I can share with anybody who's interested in it. Um, I'm just reflecting on the meandering conversation here and wondering what else I want to share. Um, yeah, it's just been a place of solace for me, and a universe that's very tough to live in, on a planet that's very tough to live in or on. Um, there's a lot of grief, a lot of loss, a lot of hardship, if you think of it that way. What I see is a lot of opportunities, a lot of lessons, and a lot of learning to come to a higher understanding of why we're here, what this is, what this experiment is of existence. And yeah, it's just it's beautiful once you come to that higher level of understanding. I'm trying to come up with an analogy to make it make sense to people, because a lot of my journey was watching content of other people and realizing that they were in that frequency or had done that work, and it was always a desire of, man, I wish I could get to that place, or like I wanted to be there. And I felt like their message, like, why can't you just tell me what to do, or why can't you like give me the answers? So I'm reflecting on that right now, of how I can articulate this in a way that meets you where you are, if you're watching this. Although, that's not why I'm doing this. I guess if you want to know more information about it, these are my favorite conversations to have. So I welcome you to reach out. But this is more for my expression. And so let me tune in now and just think of that approach and see what else is there for what I want to express right now. I feel deep sensations of grace. It's been one of the hardest journeys and the hardest things I've ever done in my life, to admit, not that you're wrong, but that there's a higher or better way for everything that you do. Think of the reasons that you do the things that you do is because they're comfortable. They keep you safe. They keep you in a place of predictability, and it's so comfortable. Think of stripping all that away. That's where I've been. Um, so yeah, I feel like I've walked through so many of these archways of grace of when you get to that point of because what inevitably happens when you strip it all away is you're left with like this crumble. It feels like your life is like everything you thought was true is not there anymore, and that is a free fall. And that's where you learn true faith. That's where you meet God, is because we have this, unless we do this work, our default after the programming kicks in is to feel like we're in control, that we have to do something, we have to manipulate our futures, our existences, our peers, even to feel okay or to get ahead or to accomplish something or to feel good. And when you're in this crumble, it's this ultimate faith that God has your back, that everything's working out the way that it should, that if something is clearing out that you've relied on for years and years and years, it's making room for a better way. And I'm at an all-time high with my trust in God, in the universe, in this force. And there's some crazy changes happening in my life. And it's been difficult to navigate sometimes with my friends and the people who know me a certain way. Um, yeah, I can't make commitments beyond, just it all comes down to my intuition. And when you do this work and when you know your body, that's another thing. I can't believe I haven't touched on this yet, but your body is the key to all this. It tells you information. There is energy stuck in your body from these past experiences that causes you to act the way that you do. And so when you combine the mentalism part of your thoughts and your thinking and your actions with understanding how your body fits into all that, there's this clearing, if you will, like a clearing of the body, of the sensations, of the heaviness. Like we've all had pains in our bodies that we they show up because of physical exercise or whatever, but they're all indications for you to tune into your body and what these pains mean to you. All parts of the body, elbow, knee, leg, arm, neck, they all have significant meaning towards like your neck is your flexibility, your ability to look around, your let me think, your stomach is your powerhouse. So if you have stomach aches or if you're sick all the time, that's an indication that you're leaking your power. These are a couple examples that are not even referenced at this point, but there's your body holds the records of you. Where was I going? Oh, so your intuition. This is the thing that's beautiful about our existence, is that we have an inner knowing that most of us have blocked because why? Because of our tendencies, our eating habits, our exercise habits. Could be any number of things, but we know what to do. Our body tells us. All you have to tune in. All you have to do is tune in and ask it. But if there's things that are layered on top of this knowing, it's difficult to access. So the more I've worked on this, the more I'm able to be in tune with my body. My body tells me not to commit to things or to get out ahead of myself, or because once you make this decision about what's happening in the future, you close down all other possibilities. And you might have something that you're planning for in the future that is really, really good. So you might not care about that, or, um, be needing the option for other realities to come in. And again, perfectly fine. There's no judgment with that. But what my body is telling me is keep the possibilities open. I need to be able to be flexible with my decision making. Go any way I need to follow the path, the golden thread, as they say. So yeah, the importance of the body and my body. I exercise differently than I ever have. I eat differently than I ever have. I tune in to my body differently than I ever have. And yeah, I'm going through this purge right now. that is pretty wild and quite painful at times. But I'm learning the value of sitting and being present with it and honoring what's there. So that's the biggest, greatest gift I think I can give myself, and anyone could give themselves, is being able to sit with the body and to listen to it. Because besides this mouth right here, it doesn't have a mouth, right? It can't tell you to sit down and shut up and to listen to it. Like, its communication, its language is sensation. And you can, you have free will. You can override those sensations, and a lot of people do. And like, there's no love lost, but there is something that you're leaving on the table that's far greater than what you are sacrificing by not listening to it. And so maybe I'll start to wrap there. I want to do this more often. I feel this pull to share more. I think, when people hear layers of truth, they they tune into it. They want to know more about it. Again, it's probably me speaking to their bodies. Their body will perks up, or like they know it to be true when they hear it, even if it doesn't make logical sense. So I want to do this more often. I'm not going to put pressure on myself with any sort of cadence, but from time to time, I'm just going to check in and work on this expression of myself. This is difficult for me because 6 months ago, I was a completely different person. I probably would have judged myself in my current state and current existence. But I can't think of any better way to spend my time than to flip a camera on and just hit record and see what comes out. Because that's what I've been doing in private for so long. Not flipping a camera on, but journaling, reflecting. And so in a way, this is a bit of a meditative experiment with an expression of what I've learned so far, and also just being mindful about where we are right now as a collective, as a whole. And I'm not here to like warn anybody, but I'm just telling you, the people who know themselves are going to be okay, and the ones who think they know themselves but have wandered or are covering things up there's going to be a reckoning. And again, it's not a threat or a warning, but I just feel called to share that and to say those things. And you'll make your own peace with it. There's certain people will flock to this and be excited about engaging with themselves and going deep. Certain people will never come close to this, will choose this other reality with this polarity and this right versus wrong, where we have a choice finally of the reality that we want to exist in. And then a lot of people will be somewhere in between, where like, I'll do the work, it feels crappy, but it's inconvenient. I just feel like I've gotten a head start on how heavy these energies are going to feel. And I'm grateful for that. And I also want to serve and help people who are interested enough to realize that they're not there, but they want to be. And they're just looking for more content on how to do that. My Instagram feed has changed drastically over the last year. I won't tell you what was on it before, but now it's filled with people on the spiritual journeys. There is a whole army of people that are going through stuff and prioritizing themselves and working on this stuff, and there's a whole community out there. So if you're interested in this, go seeking, go find. You might have to give up your evening video games, or Friday nights out at the bar. You might be challenged with that. Some of those things are really hard to give up, but yeah, take it from me. It's the one of the hardest things you'll ever do, but it's one of the most rewarding. And I feel called to serve and to help people who are at least mildly interested in this. So, anyways, we'll leave it there. It's a good first conversation. I feel like there's a lot more to share, and I'll be back. Take care.